How's it going there, folks? Quinn of Snazzy Labs, and this is the video unboxing of the OnePlus Two. See what I did there? This is not a professional video, not the ones you normally see from this channel. I was too excited, I hit record and I opened the box already. So let's get into it. A full review, and a professional review at that, will be produced in a couple of weeks once I've had ample time to produce this unit. But for now, let's just chat. Alrighty, so here we are with the OnePlus Two. It's still in its shrink wrap, so as a result of that, I am going to cut it open so we can pop into this bad boy. Okay, so here is the box itself. You can obviously see the two numeration. I don't know why they didn't spell TWO, because the OnePlus One was ONE. Seems kind of odd, but okay, they can do whatever they want. Let's pull the box off. The box is pretty dented, which is kind of sad because it came just in the mail and they sent it in an envelope. They didn't send it in a package or a box, which obviously will cause it to get nicked up. Not really that big of a deal, but a little bit of a bummer. Here we have the phone right off the bat, so let's set that to the side. You get this little envelope package with probably your SIM ejector tool, a quick start guide. Yep, who'da known? Who'da thunk it? You have your quick start guide. Whoa, what's that? Laser safety statement. Okay, you have the user guide, which is very, very small. Can't believe they fit that whole thing in there. That's pretty cool. And then you have, of course, your USB-C charging cable. This is longer than last year's, which was super crappy. And this cable is also, while it's still kind of this, I don't want to say spaghetti, what's the linguine? I'm not a spaghetti man. The spaghetti that's shaped like this, it's a noodle, okay? So this noodle cable is better than the one last year. It's less stiff, it's more flexible, but I still don't love it. Obviously on this end you have the USB-C port, which is reversible, meaning that you can plug it in either way to the phone without any issue. Hence the fact that the logo for the USB is on both sides. Pretty cool. We have our power brick, which is a pretty standard power brick. There's nothing special about it. As far as it is not a quick charge power brick. It's just regular run-of-the-mill power supply, so that's cool. It is updated from last year's though, and it's smaller and it's nicer looking, so that's good. Although it does protrude quite a bit from the wall, if you can see that. Maybe problematic for some loose plugs out there. So this phone comes with a screen protector on it, and it's not one that's just there temporarily. I think they leave it so you can have it on there permanently, but it's so rainbowy and oily that I thought the screen just looked terrible. So I finally figured out it was a screen shield. I'm looking through the viewfinder on the camera and removed it so that we could get a better image of the screen. But it looks really, really nice. And my initial impressions of this phone are, wow, it feels way more premium, way more weighty. It's heavier. It just feels way, way nicer than the OnePlus One. Everything about it. The way it feels in the hand, the weight, the solidity of obviously the metal that's coming around the edge here. We'll take a look at the side of the phone and kind of get an idea of how it works. So here we have the power button as well as the volume rockers. The power button is pretty low on the device, which I actually prefer. A lot of manufacturers seem to be putting it up higher and higher, which makes it harder and harder to reach. The problem with this though is since it's right next to the volume rocker, I can see myself getting confused sometimes. Not that big of a deal. You kind of have to feel around before you push the button, but maybe that will be something to worry about in the future. Obviously here on the top you have the headphone jack as well as the secondary microphone and these antenna lines that go all across the device but are very, very subtle and sexy, not like our friend the iPhone 6. On the bottom here you have the speaker and microphone ports. They're not stereo speakers, unfortunately. They trick you into thinking they are, but they aren't. And there is also a USB Type-C port, which is pretty great. Pretty simple, but pretty great. If we go on to this side here, you can see that there is the new notification slider. Now this is really interesting and I'm actually excited to try this out. So unlike, and this is very important to note, unlike other phones that have a mute or non-mute switch on the side, namely the iPhone and a couple other Android phones, this actually controls the notifications. So you still can control whether it vibrates or how loud the volume is from the software itself, but this controls notifications. So one of these settings is for all notifications. Some are priority, meaning that not all of them get in, but the important ones, phone calls and text messages. And this disables all notifications, basically a do not disturb mode, which is really, really handy. I'm excited to try that out. Up top here, we've already mentioned you have all that good stuff. And there is obviously the button here, which is not really a button. It's kind of deceiving. It's a capacitive button, which you can use to go home, and then the other two buttons are located here. But it doesn't actually physically push down like the Samsung Galaxy series, which looks very, very similar to this. So color me old-fashioned, but the back cover, while removable, doesn't really have any functionality. Of course, you can remove it to change the StyleSwap cover, which we're going to do. And it's also important to note that it doesn't come off very easily because I don't think they want you taking it off that often. All it really does is it houses space for the 2 SIM card slot, which is a little unusual. I figure if you're going to have a removable back, why not add functionality for a removable battery? Why not add a micro SD card slot? It just seems silly to not have that functionality. I get that maybe it's for cost, but it still seems a little unusual. So here is the dual SIM tray, and that's really all it does. And then here is the stock StyleSwap cover, which I actually really like. It feels very much like the first version, the Sandstone Black, but one thing that's nicer about this version is, I mean, I'm really digging in there, and it doesn't scratch at all. Whereas the first generation and iteration, it would scratch all over the place on everything. So I think this is a lot more durable material, and it obviously looks just as nice. And the stock cover looks beautiful. I mean, I actually prefer it to this StyleSwap cover that I even bought. I started pulling this apart, and the camera ran out of memory, so I didn't finish. The packaging is really actually quite bad. But if we get into this, we can see the magic. So this is very important to note that this does not have. A lot of people wondered, oh, hey, look, there's NFC available in these covers, finally! Because NFC is not available on the OnePlus One, which is a pretty large omission. But some people thought, oh, well, they'll definitely be available in the upgradable StyleSwap covers. No, this is a grounding pin. It is not NFC, it is not wireless charging, and OnePlus has stated pretty explicitly that that will not be coming to the OnePlus Two. Seems like a pretty odd omission, especially since NFC is so cheap to implement and everyone is doing it. But they didn't want to, and they said their users didn't think it was that important or cool, so they didn't do it. And it's your fault, guys. It's your fault. Just kidding. Okay, so there we go. The StyleSwap cover is on. It looks interesting. I definitely don't like the look as much as stock, but it does give some character and color to it. This is, well, it appears to be real wood that's kind of laminated with a matte finish. It feels really excellent. It does make the phone a little bit more slippery, but it's pretty. And the phone, I can't get over how beautiful this phone feels in the hand because it is so weighty. It's not heavy, but it's weighty. I mean, it feels really durable and really nice. So there you go, guys. This is the OnePlus 2. Thank you so much for watching. I will do a full review in a couple of weeks once I've had time to review it, and it will be far more professional and less boring than this video. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.